Hey, welcome to another episode of Decide, Commit, Resolve the Shop. Hey, listen, everybody, we are just excited today because we're live on location right here in Greenwood, South Carolina at the Sassy Sacks Boutique. And I'm telling you guys, listen, for those of you who may be watching or going to watch later on, come on by here and buy some stuff. Me and you can come too, even though it's a ladies' shop, but you can come and buy some stuff for your wives. Just because Valentine's Day is over, don't mean you have to stop buying for your old lady. And also, too, we have a blood drive going on here. So for those of you who want to come and give blood, please come on and support this event because this is serious what we're getting ready to do. And so we want to introduce all of our co-hosts that's going to be on the panel today. And first we have the founder of Mother's Command Ceasefire. The founder of Mother's Command Ceasefire, we have Shauna Childs. We also have Tracy Fant, who is a big activist here in Greenwood and all of the upstate area. We also have on location right here Sheriff Dennis Kelly. And we have also another officer here, Jonathan Link. And give all of our co-hosts a round of applause, everybody. And so we want to thank you guys for coming on. To our topic today. Our topic today is gun violence and the impact that it's having in our community. And I think this is really important for everybody to understand because gun violence is taking the lives of a lot of families. And so it's really important that we become more aware of what's going on in our communities and really start standing up and really doing something about it. So I want to start off with you, Ms. Childs, and tell us a little bit about yourself. And we're going to go around the room, and you can briefly tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Again, I'm Shanna Childs. I'm from Greenwood, born and raised in Greenwood. Never thought I would be sitting in this arena talking about gun violence because gun violence to me was nothing I ever thought of until May 19th, 2019. My godson was shot and killed on Pearl Street here in Greenwood. So it changed our lives. It changed my life. It changed my thoughts on gun violence, and just his death angered me. It angered me because it was careless. It was senseless. And with that being said, it turned my mindset to help come back to my community and help other people deal with what's going on as far as the gun violence here in Greenwood County.
My name is Tracy Fant. I'm organizer of Freedom Fighters Upstate South Carolina. The Stop the Violence, End Gun Violence commitment has been something that's been in my life for a very long time. My brother Andre was murdered when we were young, and ever since then, it just seems like it was something within me that wanted to jump out. Started Freedom Fighters, and basically it just took off from there. And so, I'm very happy to be here, and I appreciate the invite.
Thank you.
I'm Sheriff Dennis Kelly here, Sheriff in Greenwood County. I've been in law enforcement for 32 years, starting my 33rd year in law enforcement. And glad to be here as part of the panel, hopefully to deter, solve a lot of the gun violence here in Greenwood.
I'm Officer Jonathan Link. I am the Public Information Officer for the City Police Department here in Greenwood. I've been doing law enforcement 10.5 years. And Greenwood is my hometown, so I don't like seeing this kind of activity where my family lives, where other families are trying to raise their children, and we're just, we've got to bring our community together, and hopefully we can do that. And maybe what we talk about today will encourage somebody to do the right thing and help us. We continue to investigate leads on what happened to Mr. Hawkins. We're trying our best to help the family to resolve this and get answers as to what happened that night.
Gotcha. And that's why it's so important for us to come together. Law officers, families, the community, everybody, to come together so we can really get a grip on this thing. So, Ms. Childs, tell us what is Mother's Command Ceasefire. Tell us what that's all about.
Mother's Command Ceasefire actually started May 19th. It started out of a text message. I got some friends that was texting me just to see about our whereabouts, and I was again angry. And I said, I just think the mothers, at the time my best friend, we were best friends since first grade, it was her son that was murdered. I said, these mothers' hearts need to be heard. If these guys that's going around if they could hear these mothers' cries, or they could see how they're hurting them, maybe we can reach the community. So it started out generated out of text, and I said, you know, we're just gonna do something like Mothers. We want to stop the fight, the gun violence. So, but that's how Mothers Command and Ceasefire was started.
And that's real interesting. So, a lot of people are impacted by this thing directly. So, if you two don't mind, just give us something briefly about how it has impacted you directly, this gun violence.
Well, as I stated earlier, my brother Andre was murdered when we were young.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point, I had a lot of anger in me.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn how to transform that anger in me and use the opportunity to not only inform others, but raise awareness, but then also come up with different methods or methodology as far as ending gun violence, or even speaking it,
Yes.
speaking for the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Raising awareness is very important to me because of the fact that I don't think that a lot of people are aware that not only does it touch the African American community, but it touches all communities.
Yes.
So we have to focus on, a combined effort of all people working together to end this tragic thing and to stop families such as mine and Shanna's from going through this, from suffering.
Yeah.
So with that, I just decided, I'm ready to make a difference. That happened several years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and a pastor told me a few years ago it must be my conviction,
Gotcha.
because I worked very hard and very steady at it,
Mhm.
very committed and very consistent to it with
Mhm.
it.
So let me ask you ladies this, and I'm gonna come back to you guys with a question as well. You talked about several different emotions, anger and whatnot that you've had. If you don't mind, the day that you got the phone call, what was that emotion like? What's up?
Actually, when I got the phone call, I was in Tampa, Florida, and it was over in the morning, probably about 4 o'clock when I got the phone call,
Mhm.
and had to catch a flight out, and that was the longest flight ever,
Mhm.
getting back to Greenville to get to Greenwood, and I still was calling his phone.
Wow.
I still would call Cody's phone and say, maybe it was a mistake. Cody always answered the phone for me. I began to text when I did. So it was hurt. My heart was broken, shattered. Just devastated.
Mm-hmm.
Just hearing the news.
Wow.
Well, for me, I was so young at the time that I only remember the emotion that my parents felt.
Okay, I got you.
Seeing the reaction from my dad, who was a very, he was very good to us, very close
Mm-hmm.
to all of us, and so just seeing the reaction from him, and also seeing his demands to the community to take responsibility to help us find justice for my brothers.
Gotcha.
And then also the full impact that it had on the community. I learned that at an early age that violence does not only affect my household,
Mm-hmm.
it affects everyone around us. And so, just thinking on that concept alone
Mm-hmm.
is what, makes me want to get more involved.
Gotcha.
But then also, with each family we come in contact with, those
Mhm.
emotions come back.
Yes.
Those emotions are renewed. With each
Mhm.
funeral that I attend and I see the picture on the obituary, I'm reminded of my brother Andre
Yeah.
and how his picture looked on his obituary.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it can either silence you or it can either inspire you.
Yes.
And I use it to inspire me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just dealing with the different families and knowing that it's collateral damage.
Yes.
That's what we call it, collateral damage, where it's a domino effect.
Exactly.
I know that efforts like this are very needed and welcome.
Yes. Okay. So, Officer Kelly, Sheriff Kelly, for you or your department to have to make these phone calls or go to these houses of the parent who's lost a loved one, how is that?
That's one of the toughest parts of our job, is to notify a family that somebody's either been killed or is deceased.
Mm-hmm.
And because you relate it to my own family, how I would feel if I got that news.
Yes.
And so we try to be compassionate, but we also have a job to do to try to get the facts, to try to solve the crime,
Mm-hmm.
and get some clarity for the family. So,
Gotcha. So, has the people involved in your family members' loss, have the people involved with that murder, have they been apprehended yet?
No, they have not. They have not.
As far as my brother's case is concerned, they were. It was actually some close friends of his
Okay.
that were responsible for his death. So yeah, they were, and even after they were released, they each individually ended up getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
Gun violence,
Gotcha.
again, struck their family, so,
Wow, that's interesting.
yeah.
So, how was the process with working with the police? How was that process?
That's something I really want to get to. I have, like I said, was something very new to me.
Mm-hmm.
But from the first time that I reached out to Greenwood County Police, Greenwood City Police,
Mm-hmm.
they have been very, open door policy. Policy. They've been on our team. They've been with the Hawkins family. They walked through us. Even the Greenwood County Council. So I've had a good experience, and I'm appreciative even for them being here today. So they've been good.
So this question is to law enforcement representatives. What measures is local law enforcement taking to crack down on this gun violence?
We actually work as well as possible with the city and the
Okay.
county. We had a joint drug unit, but now the city has a task force that they use to patrol these high crime areas, and my guys of the drug unit work well with them.
Okay.
We patrol these areas and try to cut down on the crimes.
Gotcha.
But we also, law enforcement, we've met with the ministers in the community to try to reach out, because a lot of times the people that's involved in these crimes, they don't talk to law enforcement. Sometimes they'll talk to ministers, and their families maybe talk to the ministers to try to not only tell us who's doing the shooting, but maybe talk to these family members and try to get their family members out of this lifestyle that they're in.
Yes. And that's so important to understand. And viewers, I hope you guys get this. For you young viewers, if you're watching this, please understand it's time out for being quiet. There's so much that you probably know that you don't want to talk about that's going on. But you got to understand, you are affecting other people's lives if you are holding information. Please, please, please share that information so that things can be resolved. You're really holding other people's lives up. Please hear that. So there's a statement that some mothers are using out there, from grieving to governing. What are some things you women are doing to turn pain into purpose?
One of the things, it was starting the organization Mothers Command Ceasefire. A couple of weeks after Cody's death, we reached out to Tracy Fant with Upstate Freedom Fighters, and she's been a lifesaver to us. Me and Cody's mother, Ethel Hawkins, she's been talking us through it, walking us through the process, and just actually getting out into the community. Just letting people see our face, letting people know that we're not going to stop until we find out who killed Cody.
Yeah.
So important, so important. And so, Officer Link, what are some things that city may be doing to help coordinate this effort with the families?
We've been very thankful to have the cooperation of their family, and to have people like Ms. Fant who have been willing to go out and speak to the community.
Yes.
Because like Sheriff Kelly said, the fact is we understand a lot of times people don't want to just speak directly to law enforcement. There's the stigma that you're a snitch, or that you're helping law enforcement or whatnot, and we understand that. And a lot of times it's been very fruitful to have people like Tracy and Shanna go out and raise awareness in the community, speak to people. They have personal relationships with some of the people in the community who may have seen what happened.
Yes.
And to get them to encourage people to come and speak to us and give the information, it's been critical. A couple of months ago, we did a joint press conference, Shanna and Tracy and I did, and we put, when they announced the release of the billboard that Crime Stoppers put up.
Wow.
Crime Stoppers is still there. People can still reach them. There's an app that you can download on your phone that's completely free. It allows you, with one touch of your thumb, to send information to Crime Stoppers, which we'll get to our detectives.
Yes.
And they may be able to use that to identify and apprehend somebody that was in that vehicle that night that shot the gun that ended up ending his life.
Wow.
And there's no need for that.
Yes.
There's absolutely no need for that. All of our law enforcement officers we're all human beings, first of all. We all have families. We either all have parents or siblings that live in the area. A lot of our officers and deputies are parents themselves. We have children. My children go to school in this community.
Yes.
We don't want to see that kind of thing happen.
Exactly.
And it's like the sheriff said, the thing that we hate the worst is having to go to somebody like Shanna or Miss Ethel and
Mhm.
say, "We're real sorry,
Yes.
but they didn't make it."
Wow.
That's the worst day that we get to have.
Wow.
And so if we can avoid that
Yes.
by working with them to raise this kind of awareness, then we're all for it.
Gotcha. And I hope y'all heard that. This the officer said that Crime Stoppers is still available. It's still available. You can still remain anonymous and give that information that needs to be given. So please hear me. Please hear me on that. So, ladies, in this healing process, I'm quite sure you've experienced a wide range of emotions. You talked about the anger. Did the anger ever turn into hatred?
Yes.
And if so, how did you deal with it?
I had to pray about it.
Gotcha.
Yes. You know, it's just like going through the grief or the mourning process.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Except for you going through it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And even after the person who took your loved one's life is arrested,
Yes.
charged, convicted,
Mm-hmm.
you still have that pain and that anguish in your heart because your loved one is no longer there.
Yes.
And so although we get a sense of justice, for me, complete justice would be my brother actually walking through the door right now,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that I will never see.
Mhm.
And so for a long time, yeah, it resonated with me. And then I had to, you know, pray about it.
Yes.
You know, because with the hatred in my heart and the anger, I wouldn't be able to move forward and help
Yes.
others.
Mhm.
You know, it's nothing worse than having an angry activist who just wants revenge all the time.
Exactly.
You really want to be able to think clearly. And so the
Mhm.
only way that you can actually think clearly, have a clear mindset, is that you remove all the negative.
Gotcha.
And so just, you know, surrounding yourself with positive people, taking in positive thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
and positively doing it for my brother Andre,
Yes.
with the hope of keeping his name alive,
Mm-hmm.
his image alive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, you know, working with people like Shanna and other organizations, other families that we work with, it's all about keeping them alive, in a
Yes.
sense, keeping their name out there. And, you know, also letting the community know how important it is to get justice. Why allow a killer to stay on the streets?
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of families I meet say they never thought they'd go through this.
Mm-hmm.
They never imagined in a million years that they would have to reach out to an organization for help in getting justice. And then eventually the person's arrested, and we find out that person is responsible for other deaths as well.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole mindset or my thought is, had he been arrested the first time and charged and convicted
Mm-hmm.
and incarcerated, he wouldn't have had the opportunity to do it again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
And so the community has a responsibility,
Yes.
and we have to stop
Absolutely.
laying down and hiding behind the word snitch.
Yes.
And we need to start understanding that as long as you hide behind the word snitch, as long as you keep your mouth closed, you're putting your own family in danger.
You better say it. You better say it. So Sheriff Kelly, how important is it for your department to be transparent in these investigation processes?
It's very important. We always try to keep the family informed as much as we can with information without jeopardizing the integrity of
Yes.
the case. So
Mhm.
sometimes we can't release some information, but we try to be upfront and open with them from the beginning.
Yes.
And if you get a good working relationship with them, it goes a whole lot better when they're
Gotcha.
cooperating and we're cooperating and giving them all the information we can and keeping them updated. It goes a whole lot better.
And that's real important. I truly think that the negative stigma that law enforcement has, it's not like that everywhere. And what you guys have just showed me and Shannon, what you explained about this, these two police departments has truly been a help and a blessing. And so I commend you on that effort. So, ladies, how important is it to have your community mothers pulling together for change and healing? How important is that?
It's very important. You know, for years, women have led movements,
Mm-hmm.
led households,
Mm-hmm.
you know, did all this stuff. And so really it's time for mothers to come together and stick together
Yeah.
and say, you know, not one more child.
Mm.
You know, not one more RIP, not one more face on a t-shirt, not
Come
one,
on.
not one more visual or balloon release. Be fed up.
Come on, come
And
on.
I think that the only way that will really get out and resonate, you know, women, we run the world. If women come together, we can do anything.
Come on,
Like,
come
I'm
on.
truly believe it. You saw the Women's March in
That's right.
Washington, right? It was one of the biggest marches they've ever seen
It is.
because women decided in their mind, okay, enough is enough. We're going to get out here. We're going to do something. And so just think of enough women in the community got together, not to eliminate the men, but the men are failing to show up.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. They're not showing up for us. And so instead of us backing down or laying down and just taking it. It's time for someone, you know, to take the charge in it. We're birthing out these children whose lives are being taken.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna carry something for 9 months that you're gonna kill.
You better say it.
You know, and that's all it is to it. And that's the whole mindset of the situation. You know, I'm not gonna go through all this labor, the pains of labor, only to lay my child to rest.
That's right.
But not only that, we have to have conversations with our children as well.
Yeah.
You know, let them know as well. My mindset is like I talk to my kids, enough is enough. So not only am I not allowing someone to take your life, I'm not going to allow you to take someone's life either.
That's
You
right.
know, you have to speak in them and teach them conflict resolution.
That's right.
Know how to walk away, know when to walk away.
That's right.
Don't be afraid to report something if you see it happening. You know, and you know, we have to speak that into our children because we're releasing them into a world full of people who some don't even care about the next person's life.
Yeah.
And so we feel that if enough families, enough households have these conversations with their children and with each other, it'll prevent it. Because there's no way that we can, quote unquote, stop the violence unless you stop the violent mentality.
Come on.
That's right.
So,
It starts with your thought process.
it does.
It really does. And I think one of the key things that you said was, to me, fed up.
Yeah, you gotta be fed up.
How many of you are fed up and ready for change? I think that's the thought process. Be fed up and let's start being the agents of change. That's really important. So what role has God played in this whole process of healing?
The main thing that's kept me going, that's kept the Hawkins family going, God has. It's been days that I've wanted to give up. It's been days I've been like, you know, I've called the police department and there's no news, there's no change. And I'm like, you know what, just forget it. And then God will speak, no, you can't. You promised Cody. I made a vow to Cody that day that I wouldn't stop. I would do my best to find out who murdered him that night. So God he's playing a major role in all of this.
The same. You know, God plays a major role in it. And also knowing that I'm helping families. I'm helping in the healing process.
Yes.
So, you know, once I was healed, I was able to help others.
Exactly.
You know, so when I meet someone that's wounded like Shana and others, I'm able to bring a lot to the table.
Exactly.
You know, with my conversation, with my commitment, with my thought process, and just with my demand for justice for these families. You know, when they reach out to me, we become family, and that's just it.
That's it.
You know, and even after the case is solved, and even after we get justice and all that, I'm still family.
That's right.
We still stay in touch with each other. The community has to understand that when we have a commitment, when we make a commitment to each other, you know, whether it's an activist, whether it's police officers, you know, whoever, parents, we need to stick to the commitment.
That's right.
You know, and keep the main thing the main thing.
That's right.
Keep God first. You know who's ordering my steps. I keep going on and on.
So we're gonna do this last question. I'm gonna start with you, Officer Link.
Yes, sir.
What advice would you give our viewers that may be dealing with loss of a loved one, or they may know about the gun violence in their neighborhood? What advice would you give?
I think what you said a few minutes ago really summed it up. You got to speak up.
Yeah.
You know, like they said, being fed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, enough is enough. And that's the way we feel.
Yeah.
That's the way law enforcement, if you ask pretty much any law enforcement officer wears a badge, and you ask them what they think about this kind of gun violence in the community, we'll tell you it's absolutely senseless.
Mm-hmm.
There are 100 other ways to solve your problems in a more productive fashion that does not leave people crying and leave them hurting like these families are.
So
And Tracy said it. There's never a way that her brother is going to walk back through that door.
Yeah.
So no matter how hard we work, we can take somebody and we can take them to court and we can put them in prison for the rest of their life. You can give them the death penalty. It doesn't bring that person's loved one back.
Yeah.
So we can't ever recoup that.
Yes.
So the best thing we can do is get information.
Gotcha. Check it.
Yeah, I agree, but if the community doesn't come together with law enforcement and take our community back, the criminals out here are going to run our county and our city. If people don't come forward and help share information with us and take their neighborhoods back and teach these young people to get out of that lifestyle, it's not going to get any better. And law enforcement can't do it by ourselves.
Yes.
Absolutely can't do it without the help of the citizens in our community. Depend on them, absolutely.
Man.
I'm reminded of the quote real quick. Said that the only reason that evil will triumph is when good people do nothing.
Woo! I hope y'all heard that.
Yeah.
Man. Ms. Fant, what advice would you give our viewers?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What advice would you give our viewers who've experienced a loss due to gun violence?
Oh wow. You know, work with law enforcement. Be patient in the process and trust the process.
Trust the process.
Get with community organizations and other families who've suffered the same injustice, and band together. But just keep it like, you know, whatever you do, work on keeping your loved one's name out there.
Gotcha.
You know, because at the end of the day, know that you're doing it for them. And so even when you get case closure, you're still continuing to be committed to stopping the violence in your community. It's real easy to start something and stop. The difficulty comes in starting and keeping it going, regardless if people show up, regardless if you get the answers you want, regardless of the community cooperation, regardless. And so they have to realize that, you know, just keep it going.
Yeah.
Even after the fact.
Yeah. Keep it going, y'all. And Ms. Childs, what advice would you give?
First of all, like we said in the beginning, you know, if you know something, say something. That's been our key ever since we met Ms. Fant, since we met. If you know something, say something. If you know somebody that knows something, ask them to say something. And have an open door policy with the police department. They're not our enemy. A lot of people think they're our enemy, but once we get an open door policy with them and work with the community, get in the community. Like she said, keep your loved one's name alive. I'm committed to keeping Cody Hawkins' name alive.
So y'all heard it there. It's real important that we all work together. It's a community thing. And that community includes law enforcement. It includes the families. It includes, you know, the churches. It's all of us working together for one common goal. And that's to really get rid of all of this gun violence. So, guys, hey, thank you all for coming on the show. We really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your comments. I truly believe that this is going to impact and inspire some people to start speaking up. That's what I really believe. And so I like to end every show with a motivational thought. And my motivational thought is, courage is not having the strength to go on. It is going on when you don't have no strength. Guys, y'all heard it right here on The Shop. Decide, commit, and resolve.